am excited for this. Oh my God. Guys, I am too excited to bring this video to you guys. Okay guys, so the bike I'm on today is the 2018, I believe it is. I don't know if it's a 2017 or 2018. I don't know what year they're advertising it as, but it is the Indian Scout Bobber. For any of you guys who don't know anything about this bike, they released it a few months ago, and it is a totally badass bike. This bike is absolutely gorgeous, and when they released it, I fell in love with the bike. For any of you guys who know anything about me and Indian, I absolutely love the Indian Scout. So when they released, and I love bobbers, so when they released the Indian Scout Bobber, it was like the best of both worlds. I thought this bike was gorgeous, and I still think the bike is gorgeous. Oh yeah, put some jams on, baby. So a little bit about the bike. The engine puts out 100 horsepower, 72 pound-feet of torque. It has a 6-speed transmission, and it's fuel injected, obviously. They got a little information right here on the bike. As for the pricing of it, this model, I believe, is a Star Silver Smoke, which starts at 12 grand, and it goes, their Thunder Black Smoke with ABS starts at $12,500. So not the most expensive bike, but not cheap by any means. So for people who know about the Indian Scout, but not the Bobber Indian Scout, some of the differences are, oh, I guess we're pulling over. Not the whole group didn't catch the light. So for those of you guys who don't know the difference between the Indian Scout and the Indian Scout Bobber, some of the differences are obviously these bar end mirrors, which I am personally a huge fan of. The mirrors on the normal Scout, they're just all right, but these bar end mirrors I think looks awesome on this bike. It has kind of a low slung, a bobber type seat. It's got some chopped fenders on it and some knobbier tires to really give it that bobber kind of style. Oh, this thing's got some power to it. Okay. The bike also has some street tracker handlebars, which I find kind of cool. I like the style a lot more than just the original Indian Scout. Oh, these guys in the front are ripping it. That's what I like to see. So that's a little bit about the difference between a normal Scout and the Scout Bobber. Personally, I'm a fan of what they did with the bike. I think the look is sweet. The license plate mount for it too is also a side-mounted license plate, which I love the look. It's a stock side-mounted license plate, which you don't see on a lot of production bikes. Usually they have a really clunky fender. I guess not necessarily on cruisers like this. As you can see, his license plate bracket's not too bad, but on sport bikes they usually have a pretty ugly fender, usually a pretty big bracket. It's just not visually appealing. But they have a side-mounted bracket for this bike, and that I find absolutely awesome. A little bit about the controls: you got your brights over here, you got your turn signals, you got your horn on the left, pretty basic stuff. You got your kill switch, you got your power on button. I can't show you guys because I'm physically on the bike, but if you look down here on the left side of the bike, there is the ignition. I'll see if I can get a view of it. It is right here. I don't know if you guys can see that, but I tried. Another thing, obviously this gauge cluster, well, not a gauge cluster, it's one gauge, but it's your speedometer. It's got your digital tach, which I'm not a fan of. It's got your gear indicator, and then it has the time. I like the look of it. I like the single gauge kind of grid look of the dial. One thing that I'm not a fan of though is I don't like how this gauge right here is your speedometer. I'd rather have a digital speedometer with a actual physical tach. I don't know, that's just personal preference. This bike revs up to 8 grand, so I personally would just want a digital tach. I find that a little more helpful than a speedometer, but that's just my personal preference. One downside of the bike though is this seat. I am a pretty average sized guy. I'm 6'1", so I don't know if you want to consider that average, but I feel like for the people who ride these bikes, I'm a pretty average size, and the seat just feels a little too small. It's comfortable as shit, don't get me wrong. It feels like you're sitting on pillows and unicorns and everything awesome in the world, but it's just pretty small. So that's one negative about the bike. And like it doesn't cup your ass well enough, as weird as that sounds. When you go to accelerate, I feel like, not that I'm gonna fall off the bike, because I know I'm not gonna fall off the bike. I just feel like it doesn't cup your ass well enough. Just kind of feels like you're kind of sliding all over and you might come off the back, I guess is the best way to put it, even though I know I'm not going to. That's just kind of what it feels like. Oh, he scraped. That's not good. Well, I guess it's not a big deal for him. It's not his bike. This bike is powered by a liquid-cooled 69 cubic inch V-twin engine, for anyone who was wondering. I believe that's the same engine they have in the normal Scout. I don't know that there was any engine/performance upgrades to this bike. I'm pretty sure the difference between the Scout and the Scout Bobber was all aesthetics, but I could be wrong. I know that the Indian Scout also makes 100 horsepower. That's what leads me to believe that there was no engine upgrades in it, but I could be wrong. I wish there was a little less traffic on the road, a little more open roads for us to ride on, but we'll see. The riding position on this bike is definitely comfortable. It's very similar to the Scout or the Scout 60, if any of you guys have ridden them. If you were to compare the Scout 60, and the Scout Bobber, my favorite is the Indian Scout or the Indian Scout Bobber. I like the Indian Scout just because it's a little more powerful, and I ride a 1000, so I like power, obviously, but I love the look of the Scout Bobber. So obviously the Bobber is my favorite one. This is pretty much my dream bike in the cruiser category. I'm not a big Harley guy. There's a few Harleys, like the 833 iron or 883 iron, whatever they call that, that I think it looks all right. But this is definitely my favorite cruiser type bike, and I hope to one day own this. People say, why don't you just sell your CBR and get an Indian Scout? Well, I like sport bikes too much, so the goal is to one day be able to have both. To have my cake and eat it too. I just want to make sweet, sweet love to you. Oh yes, yes, oh yes. I love this look here with the silver, but then the black kind of wall of the tank. Oh, looks so good. Oh, and here's the ignition I was talking about right here. Found it. Indian is such an awesome brand of bikes. Honestly, I absolutely love them. Between the look and the feel and just the history of the brand, I absolutely love Indian, so you should too. I really wish I could open this thing up, but the guy was pretty strict who was given the demo day, and he kind of told us how we got to keep it below a certain RPM range. He said they rev to 8 grand, but we're not taking them to 8 grand. He said right around, I think 3,400, 3,500 is what he said. But yeah, I really wish I could really open it up and rip it for you guys, but unfortunately I can't. So sorry, because I know these bikes are pretty powerful for what they are. I don't know when the end of the ride is, but before it ends, I want to give a big shout out to Big One Motorsports out here in Birmingham. I was about to say Birmingham, Pennsylvania. Birmingham, Alabama. They are the ones putting on this Indian motorcycle demo day, so I want to thank them for that. I went to it last year and it was a great event, so if any of you guys are local, I would definitely check it out for the upcoming years. Definitely an awesome event to go to. Plus they host a lot of other demo events. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little review of the 2018 Indian Scout Bobber. I absolutely loved riding this thing. It was a blast. I really do like the bike. If it's your first time stopping by, please make sure to hit the subscribe button. I know videos like these kind of attracted different type of crowd than I'm normally used to uploading videos for. My other bike that I normally ride is a 2008 CBR 1000 RR. So if you enjoy moto vlogs or you want to see a little bit of that content, definitely subscribe. If you enjoyed this video or enjoyed me just zipping around on this Indian Scout Bobber, whatever you want to call it, make sure to hit the thumbs up button. Drop a like on the video. It helps a lot. I should have a few more reviews coming. There's a few other bikes I want to ride, so they should also be on my channel, so go check them out. And go check out other reviews of the last time I was here. I uploaded, I think, 3 or 4, somewhere around there, videos of other bikes that I've ridden and tested and reviewed. So go check them out if you get a chance. But that's all I got for you guys today. I'll talk to you in the next video. Peace. Goodbye, sweet prince. Oh. So here's a little bit of a look at the bike. I love you.